Everybody, welcome to Snow Talk. Wave 3 News meteorologist Brian Good here on this Friday, and as you know, we have a lot to discuss. Frustrating, I know, if you've been looking at the models and seen the tweets, I get it. First off, I do want to at least mention the stats. Again, holding steady, still about 11.5, although the Weather Service office over there off the Gene Snyder and Smyrna Parkway did pick up a tenth of an inch of snow. I don't know what the airport got, but that total may change for the evening newscast, by the way. But normal today, about 8.6. Still above normal to date, and still ahead of last year. But remember last year, again, we had the Valentine's storm, which really changed that number, and we'll see that in the coming days. All right, 3 systems here. We've got Valentine's Day to discuss. We've got the day after and the day after that. They are all 3 lined up, and that makes it easy for me, but they're not easy when it comes to the details. Let's talk about the short range first, because we do have some short range issues to get through. 33 degrees now. We still have a chance to climb to about 35, 36 or so for this afternoon. Here in the city especially, a little cooler, of course, in the outlying areas. We're seeing little hints of sun trying to get through these clouds, but it's been mainly a cloudy sky over a good chunk of wave country. The Arctic front is actually located up here now, just past the Chicagoland, and it arcs back into the Dakotas. Now, what we're expecting to happen with a little bit of sun that we're picking up, we're going to get instability type of snow showers that'll pop up. In some cases, maybe even a snow squall, but I think it's going to be mainly snow showers that will begin to pop rapidly in about 4 hours from now. These will begin to pop on the radar, and then they can accumulate on grassy areas if they come down hard enough, but overall, we're looking at a wet snow event that will take over a good chunk of the area, and that could cause some problems for later. I'll get into that in a second. I do want to mention, while I've got the satellite up, though, the piece of energy, one of 2 we're going to be tracking for Valentine's Day and the day after. The first piece is located right now west still of Seattle. This is it. This is the one that's giving us the headaches on some of the details we've got to figure out. You see that it's about to move on shore. It should arrive on shore later tonight, so tomorrow morning it'll be on shore. They'll have a network of balloons launched into it. So the 12Z, or the midday models for Saturday, will be the first sampling of models, and we'll see if we see any significant shifts in the system here, because this is the one that actually is causing the biggest difference you're seeing in the models right now. And you're like, wow, the model's so different. It's because of this guy. This guy here is causing the problems, so blame him. But we'll get into the details on that one in just a second. First off, let's talk about this afternoon. Here come the snow showers and squalls. Now notice the drop in temperature. This is a true Arctic front. I mean, a chunk of the polar vortex is dropping down into southeast Canada. So this is really cold air that's rushing in rapidly. Yes, it is going to be windy as well. So we've got 2 things to watch out for here. If we get these wet snow showers, the roads will become wet. That's a given. We got the quick drop in temperature. So the question is, how numerous will these snow showers be? How much wetness are we talking about across wave country on the roadways? And 2, will the wind be able to dry them up in time before the temperature drop was too drastic to cause any major problems? Can't answer that entirely just yet because the snow showers haven't developed. But the potential is there to go from 29 to 19 in just about a 4 to 5 hour period, probably about a 5 hour period. That's a significant drop to create a freezing scenario of slick spots. So be careful tonight. We'll watch this carefully and let you know if we look like we're facing any type of a flash freeze scenario. We're going to have to nowcast it, as we say. And then very cold by tomorrow morning, some single digits being found. I mean, you wake up on Saturday, whew, it's going to be tough. Now, it's going to be a sunny day, but it's going to be a struggle to even get into the 20s tomorrow. The sun angle is high enough, I think we'll get over the 20-degree mark, but some of you will not be as lucky. So it's going to be cold on Saturday, cold Saturday night, but then we start to see the influence of that system that I just showed you in the Pacific Ocean near Seattle. This is it on Sunday. That's how quick it gets here. We begin to spread the snow showers. Now, this is the RPM model. This is where it stops, and this is where we begin the problems. Let me start off with the GFS. It takes this wave into our area Sunday afternoon, Sunday night with snow showers, some light accumulations. Here's the problem, though. The GFS is notorious with being very, very dominant with northern stream systems and has a tendency to really push them to the point to the south that they can be overpowering on the model. And that's important because while this is happening, there is going to be a surface low that's going to try to develop here across Texas and Arkansas. But if this guy here Sunday that drops in is too strong, This poor little guy down here, the surface low, is going to struggle and not really get going until sometime Monday morning or Monday afternoon, but it's going to be pushed like this system's like a bully in a way. It's going to be pushed to the south, and therefore we'll miss Kentucky altogether. Eventually will become a big storm for the East Coast, but because of the northern stream, this guy just didn't have a chance. When you deepen a low pressure, here's I-65, as you guys know, that goes all the way down into Alabama. If you deepen a low pressure west of 65, it has a better chance to turn to the north. If it doesn't deepen and become stronger until it goes east of I-65, it is going to go through the Carolinas. That's just the way things go around here. So that's what we're going to have to wait and see. Now look at the Canadian. Canadian, at this point, it's getting kind of tough to use. We're getting too close to the event. The Canadian is not the best model when you get to this close to events. But it too is fairly strong with the northern branch feature. So it forces, again, the surface low to struggle and really doesn't get going until sometime on Monday and again is way to our south. So right now the GFS and the Canadian are saying that the northern stream system is going to be dominant. That still means we could get an advisory level snow across at least some portion, if not all, of wave country on Sunday. So there will be some accumulations the way it's looking if you go by those two models for Sunday. Now here's where we get into the complicated setup, and that is the European model. It is not as this does not have a flaw with it on the northern stream. It does have a flaw with a lot with holding energy back in the west and so forth, but the Euro does better with northern stream features than the other two models usually do. So it can't be ignored, and that's why it stands out. At this point, it is bringing in the northern wave, not terribly strong. It is got some surface reflection to it, some snow showers moving in, but it begins to allow the northern stream piece to be weak enough that the low pressure, the surface low, has a chance to get going. Look how much heavier the precip is in Texas and Arkansas, in Louisiana. It's given it a chance to grow and strengthen again west of 65. The end result is you start to see the low, you see an isobar here, it gets cut off, so the low begins to form over central areas of Mississippi. Yes, at the same time, you begin then to create a good south flow ahead of that. That is the downside to strong low pressures to the south of Kentucky, and especially when they're west of 65. It's just the way we luck out being where we are geography-wise, okay? So when you look at the 850 temperatures, typically the 0 degree line is the rain snow line aloft. I like it to be a little more closer to the -2 or lower, and that is across our northern counties in Indiana. So this scenario would tell me that at least it would be borderline snow along and north of I-64, but when you look at the surface temperatures, woo, way up there. All right, it shoves that warm air at the surface, and the freezing line goes all the way up to Michigan, with us around 36 degrees locally. But if we get a little bit of snow Sunday, that may not be the reality. And two, the Arctic air that's in place this weekend is hard to move out of the way. So the Euro, all of the models struggle with that on moving out the warm air too quick at the surface level. So this may not be correct. We may be colder. Either way, there is cold air above us that can be tapped into if the precip rate is heavy enough that can perhaps drop the surface temperature down lower as well. So there's a lot of questions, especially along the northern part of this system. Then we get into Monday afternoon. Surface low located right over northern areas of Alabama. And heavy precip over Kentucky, a sharp cutoff on the northern edge. That is for sure. And then 850s, again, the temperature right around 0 to -1 here locally, a little colder in Indiana. Surface temperature is around 34 degrees at that time. And then as we head into early on Tuesday, the low is now centered right over the mountains. Now, if you have been paying attention, that track here of Mississippi, northern Alabama, into the mountains is not a normal track that we would see. So I have a feeling, this is a gut feeling, that we are going to see a mix of the GFS idea and the Euro idea. I do think the low will develop, but I do think the low is going to track a little more to the south, probably south of Birmingham, probably right through Atlanta, and then go up through the Carolinas. This, if that were to be the case, would put our southern counties just south of Louisville more at risk of a potential wintry impact and further to the south. And then for those in Indiana, you may get the shaft on it. But that's a gut feeling. I don't know that for sure. I'm just speaking from looking at the pattern, what was likely to happen. We'll see how this plays out, because the Euro could be completely wrong, and the GFS could be right, and the Canadian could be right, and the Northern Stream Future is going to be right, which means Sunday is it, and there's nothing on Monday, which I know will really disappoint snow lovers, but make a lot of you happy if you have plans Monday. And then right on its heels, we've got a clipper that's going to move on in. That'll be Tuesday. That, again, based on the idea, we got a strong low with the Euro going up the coast. It would force this clipper a little further south, and we'll see if that happens. We'll worry about that later. But there's still a lot of ifs on this Monday deal, guys. Confidence remains moderate at best. Stay tuned.